man, it's your boy Lou Dizzle, man. I'm very, very excited to bring you guys footage of this vehicle. I just got a little taste of what it sounds like, and I've always wanted to hear what the Utopia set sounds like, and it's amazing. So we're going to play a little bit of dubstep for you, and hopefully with my editing skills we'll really be able to preserve the audio. We're not going to turn it up too loud, because I really want you guys to try to capture the experience of what this sounds like. So without further ado, here's some audiophile goodness for you. Envision him riding around in this thing. I mean, that sounds, I'm just kind of listening to how it all blends, you know, because I know they're in different locations, so you can't really tell that there's a mid-range down here and a twist. It's just all, it sounds all, it's just all right there. And then I can hear the separation too from the left and right.
950 per side.
950 per side of Mosconi power to Focal Utopia components, man. I tell you what, if any of you guys ever get a chance to sit in a vehicle like this with a stereo of this caliber, I highly recommend you do it, because, you know, I mean, there's not much that really compares to something like that. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to the imaging, and you've got speakers in different locations, but you don't hear any difference in that sound. It all sounds like it's coming from we're going to go over some details of the car here, because, you know, $5,000, you know, roughly, whatever, stereo, and just kind of throw it in. Why don't you give us some details on what you guys did to tweak this setup once you installed it?
Well, I mean, the first part of doing a job like this is actually getting the car and taking it apart and actually figuring out what's going to work properly in it, and, you know, so that's what we did in the first part, is actually take this whole car apart, assess the situation by seeing the speaker locations, and then actually choosing the speakers for the job. Once we installed the speakers, the Utopia mid-bass drivers in the doors, the mids and tweets in the dash, we use a Mosconi 6 to 8 processor, which is, it takes the factory head unit and also our direct input directly into that processor. It goes into there and it allows us to do equalization for each channel, time correction, crossover points. So then we sit in with the RTA and we RTA the car and we take out all the peaks, and then we see if we're missing anything, check phasing. I mean, we've been tuning this car for at least 4 days on and off.
Nice. Now, what I saw some people ask on the Florida SPL forum, because you have such an elaborate crossover with the Focal setup, what part does the processor play when you have such an elaborate crossover network?
To be honest with you, the equalization in this car, we didn't really have to do much, because the speaker's right out of the box, and the cross block and the quality of the speaker is just so good that you're not missing anything when you install the speaker system in the car. So you don't have to over equalize and over correct, because you just put it in and it sounds amazing. It sounds this good when you install it.
And the processor, though, allows you to go in and equalize and stuff like that, because the crossover...
it allows us to equalize, and it allows us to actually check phase. I mean, there's some trick phase stuff going on in here. All the speakers are not in phase in this car.
Interesting.
But that's through listening and tuning and spending time in the car and actually being able to, take the right mid bass and flip the phase on it and see what sounds the best.
Interesting.
So, I mean, I can't go into details on exactly what we did.
Sure. I mean, those are tricks of the trade, but
tricks of the trade, and
definitely stuff I'm curious about, just because it's so elaborate, and if you don't have the knowledge to do what you did, then you're really not going to get the benefit out of the crazy stuff. So you can't just take a bunch of really expensive gear and have someone that doesn't know what they're doing put it in, because you're not gonna hear the little nuances like you hear in this. So we're really not using too much of the factory head unit in the car, right? Because
it's still here in the car. We actually, before the Mosconi processor, we actually used the JL Audio clean sweep to flatten out the factory equalization before it goes into the processor. And we also use the clean sweep knob to toggle between the factory head unit. You want to get a shot of this right here. Right here. Where it says Bentley.
Okay.
This is the factory head unit in the dash.
Oh, very cool. I didn't even know that was there. I thought the head unit was somewhere down here.
So you got your factory head unit here.
Oh man, look at that.
Right here, this is Sirius. You could go to Sirius. And down here we actually have the clean sweep knob mounted.
Okay.
And that toggles between the factory, and if I press the button, it toggles to our auxiliary input, which we use the High Resolution Technologies outboard DA converter.
Yeah, definitely talk more about that, because an external digital analog converter, not too many people are even aware what that does. So what does a D to A converter do for your signal path?
Well, what happens in an iPad or an iPhone, iPod, they have built-in DA converters. They're not the best.
Right.
They don't spend the money on that. So this piece actually, when you plug it in, it takes the digital out of your your iPod, iPad, whatever, and then it converts. It has its own DA converter. So it's its signal to noise ratio is really high, the distortion is really low, and it actually gives you 2¼ volt pre-out out of the piece.
And that's before going into the processor.
Before going into the processor. So everything is just as clean as it can be.
Which is incredibly important, because on speakers this sensitive, if you were to have engine noise or anything like that,
engine noise, distortion, everything is scoped. Everything throughout the system is scoped.
Nice. So that's the factory head unit there. I didn't even know that was there. That looked like...
That opens and closes. You can hide it. Has a door that closes.
Oh man, I guess that's what you get for Alright, so what we're going to do for you guys now is we're going to give you a bass demo in the Bentley. The song is Techno Bass Beats by Techmaster PEB. The only people that'll recognize this song are people that have been doing it for a really long time. For substage, why don't you give us a little rundown as far as the amplifiers go and the substage in the car?
We have a Mosconi AS 300.2 bridged. It's producing about 1800 watts RMS on 3 12W6V3s. in a sealed enclosure.
Very nice, very nice. And we were talking when I got here, how does the bass get in the cabin considering the vehicle is so structurally sound?
We removed a lot of sound insulation in the rear deck, took out the factory subs that were there, and opened it up. You know,
Very
we have
nice.
about over 100 square inches of area that's open in the rear deck, and the box is rear firing, and some of the trim panels are acoustically transparent. So
Acoustically transparent, man. What do y'all know about that? That's sound quality. Now I will tell you, you know, this isn't like hair trick kind of bass, because the stereo wasn't designed to do that. But what we're gonna show you is that even though this is a SQ build, the person that wanted this system definitely likes their bass. We'll just leave it as that. So here's some Techmaster PB for you guys. Some of the old school bass heads that give me major love for playing like the DJ Laz stuff. So here's some old school bass for you guys. So there's some old school goodness for you. I'm not sure how good the camera is going to pick up the bass there, but it just sounds very level with everything else. I mean, you could feel it in your chest with the bass hitting, but it wasn't overpowering the mids and highs at all. Why don't you tell us about the amps on the mids and highs?
the front stage is a Mosconi AS 200.4, so it's running basically 200 watts RMS to that 3 and tweet over there, 200 over here, 200 on that mid bass, and 200 there, so about 800 watts RMS.
Okay.
Clean on the front.
And that's on the front, and then the rear fill has its own amplifier.
Rear fill has its own amp, which is an AS 100.2, which is running about 220 watts per channel, and then 1800 on bass. So
nice, 1800 watts on the 3 JL subs.
Yeah, 1800 on
Alright,
bass.
so we're wrapping up down here, Miami Beach, Sounds Good Stereo, here with Don and Sage. I want to thank you guys a lot for inviting me down here. This is kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity. It'd be cool if the guy will let us let you know whose car it is, but if they don't, hey, that's their privacy, and I'm still very glad to be able to shoot this stuff. So thanks for taking the time to stay here late after you've been working and demo the car and give me all the details. This man right here, he hit me up and said, hey, I have this car, if you want to come shoot it, come on. And I kind of felt like it was the responsibility to my viewers. If I had this opportunity, I had to jump on it. So it's late, it's like 2-something in the morning, I got a 2-hour drive home, but it's all for you guys. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.